Alchemy Emperor of the Divine Dao, chapter 1143, chapter Va. In the stillness between heaven and earth, where fate itself seemed to hold its breath, the proud Empress Luanxing stood before Ling Han. Yet, for the first time, her imperial composure wavered like a lotus trembling upon rippling water. She naturally knew of Ling Han's possession of a spatial god tool. Had this not been the case, her will, unyielding as iron, might have already driven her to push him down and claim what she desired without hesitation. But as that thought brushed across her mind like a fleeting breeze, her flawless visage betrayed her. A delicate blush bloomed upon her cheeks, faint yet undeniable, like the first hint of dawn touching the horizon. Bound within this temporary body, she could not fully release her cultivation. The veil of primal chaos that once concealed her expressions had faded, leaving her emotions bare before Ling Han's gaze. And Ling Han saw it. He stared, stunned, as though witnessing a celestial phoenix lower its proud head. "This empress can feel shy?" he thought, disbelief echoing within him like thunder across empty valleys. Has the sun truly risen from the west? A flicker of irritation crossed Empress Luanxing's eyes as she caught his gaze lingering upon her. "What are you staring at?" she demanded, her voice sharp as a drawn blade. Ling Han merely chuckled, unrestrained and fearless. The once untouchable empress no longer inspired the same dread within him. "Come," he said casually. With a sweep of divine sense, he wrapped around her presence and, in an instant, brought her into the depths of the Black Tower. "What? How is this possible?" Empress Luanxing's voice rang with genuine astonishment as her eyes swept across the boundless expanse before her. The world within this spatial god tool was vast beyond reason, like a hidden cosmos carved between dimensions. Ling Han crossed his arms with a smug grin. "There are far more impossible things waiting for you." To see such a peerless empress shaken, this filled him with a quiet, irrepressible satisfaction. Yet her astonishment only deepened as she walked further into this strange land. Everywhere she looked, divine herbs thrived, ancient, vibrant, brimming with life force that pulsed like the heartbeat of the heavens themselves. Their age, their density, their sheer abundance, it defied reason. Ling Han had only just ascended into the immortal realm, barely more than 2 years ago. How could he possibly have cultivated so many godly medicines in such a short span? Time itself seemed to have bent to his will. "Come," Ling Han called again, this time grasping her slender hand as he led her forward. At once, Empress Luanxing's brows furrowed. Has he grown addicted to this, she thought, a spark of irritation igniting within her. She tugged her arm, seeking to free herself from his grasp. Yet to her shock, her strength failed her. Her cultivation had not changed. Her realm remained the same, yet she could not break free from the hold of a mere mountain river-tier cultivator. Her heart trembled. "How?" she murmured, her voice caught between disbelief and awe. Ling Han laughed, his voice echoing like a sovereign's decree. "Welcome to my world." He spread his arms wide, as if embracing the heavens themselves. "Here, I am the one and only king." "Humph!" A cold snort suddenly cut through the air. The small tower manifested, its tone dripping with disdain. Ling Han's expression twisted as he sighed. "Of course, there's also the tool spirit, though it never treats me, the master, with any respect." "Well, I'm terribly sorry about that," the small tower replied with biting sarcasm. Empress Luanxing stood frozen, her mind in turmoil. What kind of divine artifact was this? Within this space, Ling Han's power surpassed even hers, and this so-called tool spirit, it possessed emotion, personality, will. It was nothing like the rigid, rule-bound spirits she knew. This was no ordinary treasure. This was something that defied the very laws of heaven. Before long, they arrived beneath the sacred reincarnation tree. A gentle rustle filled the air as though countless lifetimes whispered among its leaves. The notionless saint was the first to notice their arrival. His gaze fell upon Empress Luanxing, and a puzzled expression crept across his face. "You remind me of someone, a girl from before," he said slowly. "Yet you are clearly not the same person. Curious, very curious." Nearby, Canny and the others rose immediately, bowing with utmost respect. "Young Master Han!" Ling Han waved his hand casually. "There's nothing for you to concern yourselves with. Continue cultivating. Strive to reach the immortal level as soon as possible." "Understood!" The four returned beneath the reincarnation tree, resuming their cultivation with unwavering focus. Meanwhile, Empress Luanxing's gaze locked onto the towering divine tree before her. A flicker of recognition stirred within her eyes. Then suddenly, This is the reincarnation tree!" she exclaimed, her voice trembling with astonishment. Ling Han nodded with a grin. "You truly are knowledgeable, to recognize it so quickly." The Empress fell into thought, her sharp mind piecing together fragments of memory. "You once purchased a seed. Could it be this?" Ling Han raised his thumb. "Exactly right." Though his praise was deliberate, even excessive, Empress Luanxing paid it no heed. Her thoughts were racing. "It's only been a little over 2 years since your arrival in the immortal realm," she said slowly. "No matter what methods you used, it would be impossible to gather such vast quantities of divine medicine, let alone cultivate a reincarnation tree to this extent." Her eyes lit up, sharp as lightning splitting the heavens. "There is only one explanation. You can accelerate the growth of divine medicine," Ling Han chuckled softly. "So what do you think? Would you like to cultivate here? Beneath this tree, 1 day of cultivation equals an entire year." For a moment silence reigned. Even for someone like Empress Luanxing, whose talent defied comprehension, the path of cultivation was long and arduous. Accumulating origin power was trivial. It required only thousands of years. But to comprehend the Great Dao, that could take millions, tens of millions. The fact that this entire galaxy had only a single eternal riveteer existence spoke volumes of the difficulty. She stared at Ling Han, her gaze piercing. "What are your conditions?" This was no longer a simple favor. This was a secret so profound that, if revealed, it would bring calamity upon Ling Han. Every saint in existence would hunt him without rest. "Surely he does not intend," she thought, her mind flickering with suspicion. Ling Han's expression grew solemn. "I already said it," he replied. "I will reveal my greatest secret to you. In exchange, you must tell me yours." Empress Luanxing scoffed lightly. Childish, she thought. Do you believe secrets can be traded so simply? And yet, he had shown her everything, without hesitation, without fear. A faint ripple stirred within her heart. "Only a little," she reminded herself firmly. "What do you want to know?" she asked, her tone once again regaining its cold authority. Ling Han's gaze sharpened. "What is your relationship with this body?" This was clearly Hu Feiyun's body. Yet now it housed the consciousness and power of Empress Luanxing. Though not yet at her original peak, she had still reached the heavenly body tier before she could answer. "Ha! I know!" The notionless saint suddenly interjected, unwilling to be ignored. Ling Han blinked. "Senior knows?" "Of course," he said proudly. "It's simple. She belongs to the 9 Snake tribe." Ling Han frowned, confused. "What does that have to do with?" Empress Luanxing sighed inwardly. There was no point hiding it any longer. "The 9 Snake tribe possesses an innate ability," she said calmly. "We can maintain 9 separate clones." Ling froze. Then, like a thunderbolt striking his mind, This body's one of your clones?" he asked. He paused, then realization struck deeper. "The 9 kings, they are all your clones?" "Correct," she replied with a nod. Everything fell into place. The 9 kings' authority, their unwavering support from the Empress, their unmatched status, they were not her subordinates. They were her. She continued, her voice steady yet filled with quiet pride. "I cultivated the 9 Deaths heaven art, creating 9 separate bodies. When all of them reached the peak of the heavenly body tier and returned to me," her eyes gleamed like stars in the void, "I will ascend to the absolute pinnacle of the heavenly body tier." Ling Han inhaled sharply. "In truth, you could have already attempted to break through to the eternal river tier," he said slowly. "Yet you chose to wait, all for the sake of perfection? What do you think?" she replied, her chin lifting slightly, her arrogance as dazzling as ever. Ling Han fell silent, but within his heart admiration surged like a rising tide. To such extremes to pursue perfection itself, and yet a shadow of concern flickered across his thoughts. "What if," he began, "something happens to one of your clones?" Empress Luanxing's expression hardened. "Then," she said coldly, "I will suffer an eternal Dao wound and forever lose the chance to become the strongest." In that moment, the air grew heavy, for behind her path to perfection lay a risk that could shatter everything. In the quiet expanse of the Black Tower, where heaven and earth seemed to bend to a single will, Ling Han's gaze rested steadily upon Empress Luan Xing. His tone carried both curiosity and a hint of probing intent as he spoke. "So every time you aim for the pinnacle, you must form 9 clones?" The Empress inclined her head slightly, her expression solemn, her presence as composed as a sovereign standing before her court. "That is correct," she replied without hesitation. "And as my cultivation deepens, the time required for each of those 9 clones to ascend to the peak grows ever longer. This is the trial I must endure." Her voice slowed, carrying the weight of long contemplation. "If I persist in pursuing the pinnacle after stepping into the eternal river tier, I may no longer have enough time left to reach the Genesis tier." For a brief moment, silence lingered between them, like a still lake before a storm. Then her eyes flickered with a subtle shift, and she continued, "However, everything has changed now that the reincarnation tree exists." Those words fell like a stone into calm waters, sending ripples through Ling Han's thoughts. Indeed, the higher one climbed in cultivation, the more arduous it became to comprehend the great Dao. Time stretched endlessly, and progress slowed to a crawl. Yet beneath the reincarnation tree, the laws of time themselves seemed to yield, one day of comprehension equating to a full year in the outside world. Under such miraculous conditions, not to mention 9 clones, even 90 would no longer be an impossible dream. Ling Han narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at her. What did she mean by this? She had not even entered the Ling clan, yet she was already planning how to make use of its greatest treasure. "Ahem," he coughed lightly, breaking the moment. "I did share my secret with you, but I don't recall ever agreeing to share the reincarnation tree." At once, Empress Luan Xing lifted her chin, her bearing turning imperious, as if she ruled over all beneath the heavens. "All lands under heaven belong to the imperial authority," she declared coldly. "You are a subject of my empire. Allowing you to retain possession of the reincarnation tree is already a gesture of immense generosity. And yet you would hoard all its benefits for yourself?" Ling Han nearly choked. As expected of a ruler, truly shameless in the most refined way, he cursed inwardly. Shaking his head, he answered without backing down, "This is my greatest treasure. Why should I share it with outsiders? If you wish to cultivate here, it's not impossible. But look around, those 4 are my followers. That senior, well," he paused, then waved dismissively, "forget it, he's not even a person. In any case, you're not one of us." Notionless Saint, standing nearby, felt his heart tighten with grievance. If he wasn't a person, then what was he? At the very least, he had once stood at the level of a saint, but beneath another's domain, he could only swallow his indignation in silence. Empress Luan Xing, of course, understood perfectly what Ling Han meant by "one of us." Her brows twitched faintly, and she let out a cold snort. This brat truly harboured improper thoughts toward her, and yet, strangely, she could not summon anger. If Ling Han were truly a shameless rogue, he could have taken advantage of her long ago. Why wait until now? What a peculiar man, she thought, her gaze sharpened, a dangerous aura beginning to gather. "Then tell me, what do you want?" Ling Han chuckled softly, his tone laced with mischief. "You'd best think carefully before acting. This is my territory. Here, my word is law. Don't act too high and mighty or you might find yourself punished." Truthfully, he had long harboured the urge to smack this empress's bottom. Though this was not her true body, it mattered little. Her consciousness, her spirit, they resided within it. Whatever this body felt, she would feel as well. At once, the empress's overwhelming aura faltered. Outside, she could suppress Ling Han with a single hand. But here, she was powerless. Ling Han rubbed his hands together, a gleam of anticipation in his eyes, as if he were hoping she would stubbornly resist. Instead, Empress Luan Xing rolled her eyes. With a grin, Ling Han continued, "Earlier, why did you suddenly appear? Wasn't it because you were jealous?" "Jealous?" She scoffed coldly. "Do you think I have the leisure for such trivial emotions?" "Then why interfere?" he pressed, clearly enjoying himself. "Why should I explain myself to you?" She retorted with icy disdain. Ling Han's grin widened. "You asked for it." In a flash, he moved. Before she could react, he lifted her effortlessly and placed her across his knees. Then, "Pa! Pa! Pa!" The sound echoed sharply. He began striking her bottom without the slightest hesitation. Within the Black Tower, he stood as the supreme authority, second only to the small tower itself. Ling Han had never claimed to be a paragon of virtue. What had restrained him before were merely his own principles. But now they had already embraced, touched, even kissed. In his heart, she was already his woman. Since that was the case, how could he allow her to marry another? Impossible. And so his actions carried no burden. The Empress struggled fiercely, her dignity shaken to its core. This humiliation was unbearable. Despicable, she hissed through clenched teeth. Yet her voice carried an unintentional softness, tinged with an alluring charm. Though she occupied Hu Feiyun's body and not her true form, her presence transformed it. Every movement radiated elegance and captivating grace. Ling Han laughed. "Well, will you speak now?" "Do you have a death wish?" she snapped, fury blazing within her. Never in her wildest imagination had she thought Ling Han, who had shown such restraint for 2 whole years, would act so boldly now. Each strike sent waves of strange sensation through her body. It did not hurt, yet it stirred something unfamiliar deep within her, causing her legs to press together involuntarily. Ling Han only laughed louder. "Have you learned your lesson?" Even as he spoke, a wild thought surged through his mind. If striking this clone already felt so exhilarating, what of her true body? The mere idea made his heart tremble with excitement. Finally, unable to endure further, the Empress relented. "You win!" Ling Han clicked his tongue in mock disappointment. So quick to surrender, I wasn't even done yet. What a pity. Empress Luanxing felt as though she might truly lose her composure. She wished she could bite him to death. Letting out a cold huff, she said, "It's not impossible for you to marry me." They had already crossed many boundaries, and she could not bring herself to kill him. Thus, perhaps, this was the only path left. As an empress, she was decisive, never one to waver. Ling Han's eyes lit up. "Conditions. Speak them." Her expression turned resolute. "Reach the Genesis tier, and I will marry you." Ling Han nearly stumbled. "That's completely insincere. With your talent, it still took you 1,000,000 years to perfect the heavenly body tier. If I follow your standard, wouldn't I need 2 or even 3,000,000 years? Such confidence, she thought inwardly. He spoke as if reaching the Genesis tier was a certainty, only the duration in question. But 2 or 3,000,000 years, was that truly long? If he succeeded within that span, it would be an unprecedented feat. "I am on the verge of reaching the pinnacle of the heavenly body tier," she said calmly. "Advancing to the eternal river tier is inevitable. If you remain weaker than me, what right do you have to marry me?" Ling Han clapped his hands. "Understood. Just wait. You are destined to become my wife." She snorted. "That is a matter for the future. For now, you are still my subordinate. If you dare—" "Ah!" Before she could finish, Ling Han once again pulled her down and resumed his assault. "Pa, pa, pa! Empress!" he said with a grin. "You've misunderstood something. Marriage is just a formality. Don't challenge your man's authority." His laughter rang out, filled with satisfaction as his hand rose and fell once more. Then, as if recalling something important, he added, his tone shifting slightly, "And what of the 9th King's soul?"